Over the last few years, the Lusk Tidy Town Committee have produced many DVDs on the environment, and our appreciation goes to Trevor Sargent TD for his assistance. These DVDs have been produced for the local national schools of the area, and we have been awarded many prizes for the projects. Our latest one, the 6th edition, is on the wildflowers of Fingal, their importance being for the birds and bees and the environment. Our thanks to Trevor Sargent for his endeavours.
Well, thanks, Pat. Well, I'm Trevor Sargent, and we have a few pictures to show you. Some taken by myself, some by the photographer Tony Healy, and some by herself, Miss Pat Kelly. The flowers in all these pictures grow in Fingal. Altogether, Ireland has a couple of thousand different flowering plant species, but we can't show you them all today. Some are so rare they'd be hard to find anyway. This is one reason why we did not pick the flowers. We took photographs of them and left them there to grow. But in Britain there's even more different flowering plants, about 2,500 in fact. And in France, Spain and continental Europe they've even more species of flowering plant. So why have we less species than Britain? And why has Britain less species than France? Well, it all goes back to when all Europe was covered by ice, over 12,000 years ago. No flowers could grow because the ground was covered in thick ice. But as the ice melted, first in the south of Europe, more and more ground was uncovered. Seeds from flowers growing in ice-free places like Africa blew or were carried north to this new ground. But as the ice melted, also water was released and the sea levels rose. So not all flower seeds made it from France to Britain before the English Channel was formed. Even less made it as far as Ireland before the Irish Sea was formed. Now botanists, such as my friend Dr. Declan Doog, like to say, the flowers we have in Ireland are the winners of the great botanical steeplechase. So let's take a look at the winning wildflowers, which are now a natural part of the landscape in Fingal. To make it more interesting, I want you to imagine you are a bee. Bees and flowers need each other. Bees visit flowers to collect pollen and nectar for food. By accident, the bees brush against parts of each flower, which allows seeds to be made. All sorts of fruit and vegetables, clover and grass, to make milk and meat, all depend on bees to visit the flowers. Apple flowers, pea and bean flowers, sunflowers, courgette flowers, all types of food we need also depend on bees not dying out. We need bees. The bees need flowers, so in a way, we need the flowers to keep the bees happy. The first flowers of spring are a welcome sight for a bee after being cooped up in a hive all winter. We know winter is coming to an end, and when primrose flowers appear. Its name in Latin is first rose, and it's found in woods and under hedges. It's also made into a medicine to treat rheumatism. In Irish we call it an saoiricín. Another early flower which comes out in March is the blackthorn. The bees like it too, and people like it. The leaves are used to cure indigestion, and the wood is used to make walking sticks. The fruit, or sloe, is used to flavour drinks. No wonder it's popular in hedges, and in Irish we call it an drain. The daisy comes out in March also, and flowers right through to October, but only at daytime. After dark it closes up its petals. This is how it's got its name, as it's not a night eye, it's a day's eye. In Irish we call it an nóín. Then on to April. The beehive is really busy and buzzing, as the dandelion flower is a favourite bee food. It's the same family of flower as the daisy, so at night it also closes up. Look closely at a dandelion flower, and you'll see it's like a jigsaw of up to 200 mini flowers in one flower head. No wonder the bees love the dandelion. As a medicine, the dandelion is used in the treatment of jaundice. In Irish, we call it an casharván. Another April flower which flowers to October is Speedwell. There are some 20 species of Speedwell, some rare, some common. The name Speedwell is a hint about the respect people have for the plant in medicine. The name is also a reminder that the Speedwell flower on your coat was lucky and would speed you well, as they said, on a journey. In Irish we call it an Shamar Chray. Cow parsley flowers also from April to June along roadsides. While bees go for the flowers, the leaves are collected by children to feed pet rabbits. In Irish we call it Purcell Bow. Once May comes, the choice of flowers for a bee grows even greater. The hive will be busy now building up stores of pollen and nectar for use in the winter when hardly any flower food is available. May and June are the months of the poppy. Although the flower is delicate and lasts only a day, one plant can produce 400 flowers in one season. In Irish we call it an Cucán Dearg. The creeping buttercup flowers from May to July. Food for bees, but many people see it as a weed, which spreads quickly. It may be common, but it's not popular. A more welcome flower in grassland from May to September for bees and humans is the red clover. Red clover is also popular with butterflies and moths. Like the roots of peas and beans, it can increase the levels of nitrogen in the soil, helping other plants nearby to grow better. In Irish we call it Shamar Chapel. The mallow flowers from May to September also, and it's one of the oldest vegetables we know about, although it's not eaten much today. In Irish we call it an huckus. The field rose flowers from May to June. In spite of its name, it prefers to grow in woodlands. Bees like the flowers, and people like the rosehip, which the bee visits to the flower make possible. A cough medicine is made from the rosehips. In Irish we call it Fargrish na Porca. With June comes the longest days of the year, and good weather, an ideal combination for many flowering plants, like the rose bay willow herb, which flowers from June to September. It was mainly a garden plant, only in the 19th century, but it spread to the wild and is quick to colonize bare ground after a fire, or indeed a bombing, as happened during World War II in many English cities, where it grew among the rubble. In Irish we call it an Luas Tinna. Another summer flower is creeping thistle, which flowers from June to July. It has a sweet musky odour, which attracts rare butterflies like the painted lady, which plays a part in pollinating the flowers. In Irish we call it an Fiocadán Raha. Bindweed also flowers from June to July and is a tough, successful plant. The flower has an almond scent which attracts many insects, including bees. In Irish it's called Illispiog. The cranesbill flowers from June to July and is popular in gardens as well as being found in the wild. Bees love good gardens where flowers are plentiful right throughout the year. In Irish we call it an Cruv Bug. Another flower which came to Ireland in gardens is the Wallvalerian. It's not just attractive, but it has been used to treat epilepsy, headaches and problems with nerves. As it flowers from May to September, it's popular too with bees for food. In Irish we call it an Cairhan Currig. The Spanish bluebell, as the name suggests, is not in Ireland very long, but it is related to our native bluebell. The bluebell grows best in woodlands. In Irish we call it an Cloigín Gurm. So we can see that many flowers and seeds were not just blown here or brought here by birds or animals. Many came as food brought here by people who settled in Ireland. Around monastic sites in Lusk or Swords and Anglo-Norman castles like Brimore in Balbriggan, we find Alexanders, an early type of celery which is still edible wherever it grows wild today. It grows very well in the grounds of Lusk Garda Station, as you'll notice. None of the flowers we have seen so far are in bloom in the winter months, between November and January. Such a flower in winter would be handy for bees if a warm day arrived, say in December, and the bees wanted to do a cleansing flight to tidy out the hive. This is why beekeepers introduced to Ireland in the early 1800s from the Mediterranean winter heliotrope, which flowers from November to January and has a lovely vanilla scent. So the next time you are admiring the wildflowers of Fingal, remember they are more than pretty faces. They feed the bees, which in turn help the plants we need to give us food. A hive of 60,000 bees can fertilize 35 million flowers a day between them all. If we did not have bees, 80% of the plants worldwide would die out. So it's a good thing the bees don't need to be paid for this work, as the work bees do in agriculture is worth worldwide $153 billion. So maybe we cannot pay the bees for their invaluable work, but we can appreciate and respect their food, our flowering plants, the wildflowers of Fingal.
The flowers. Birds are singing, the leaves are all green. I stroll along this winding lane in wonderment at all I see, hear and smell. The violets blue, the cowslips too, and purple orchids with leaves long and blotched. The puzzling flowers of the Irish splurge are there, as is the primrose, flaunting its pale yellow flower. The delicate seaside pansy is rare to view. The thrift or sea pink forms a dense hummock. And last there is the graceful butterworth, violet-coloured with sticky stem to catch its prey. And all of this wonderment on view to those who'll see. Written by Leo Dunn, February 2010.